Zwift Concept Z1, aka the Tron Bike, arguably the most popular bike choice to be riding on Zwift, and for a good reason. Not only it is a fantastic looking bike, but it is also one of the very few bikes that are quite difficult to obtain. And not too long ago, it was actually one of the best all-around performance in the game as well. But how about now, in early 2025? Is it still worth to be using it? Or are you actually hurting your racing performance with it? Let's find out. In this video I'm going to compare the best bikes and best wheels for 5 different courses, ranging from completely pancake flat ones to straight up climbing. And for this comparison I'm going to use an excellent website called Zwifter Bikes. I'm going to link it down in the description below. And what this website does, it basically takes every single route that is available on Zwift and shows you ranking of bike and wheel combinations that you can run on that courses. You can also personalize the results by selecting what level you are on Zwift and how many drops do you have available, and the website will actually recalculate the ranking based off those parameters and show you the results that are tailored to your specific scenario. You can also take different bike combinations and do comparisons between them, so you can see what is the time difference between, for example, Tron Bike and the best combination that is available. Before the test, we need to say that the results assume the same rider weight, and also they are based on a solo ride, which means that there is no drafting effect, which ultimately has way higher impact than the bike choice itself. There is also one more important consideration to take into account, but we will return to that at the end. Let's start with a route that's completely flat, Tempus Fugit in Watopia. And it is no surprise that the most aero setup is going to be the best here. Top 3 bikes on this route are Uranium Nuclear, Cervelo S5 and Specialized Venge S-Works. As for the hoops, DT Swiss Arc 1100 are the best performer, being followed by Zip 858 Super 9 and Zip 808 Super 9. If we compare the best setup here to the Tron Bike, we can see that the Tron Bike is going to be around 5 seconds slower on this route. For our second route in this test, I've picked Greatest London Flat. Still a pretty flat route, but there is already about 170 meters of elevation. And we can see that this bit of an elevation didn't really shake things up very much. The best wheels are exactly the same as on the Tempus Fugit. In terms of bike setup, the Cervelo S5 is now gone and it has been replaced on the podium by Felt AR. Compared to the winning setup, the Tron Bike is about 6 seconds slower here. Our third course, Everything Bagel, is a constantly rolling course with 2 New York KOM Ascents. The Ultra Aero frames are not gone and they are replaced by 2 kings of rolling terrain, the new Pinarello Dogma and the new Canyon Aeroed. Funnily enough, the wheel setup is still the same, even on heavily rolling course like this one. Once again, compared to the best setup, Tron Bike is about 6 seconds slower. The fourth course is Climber's Gambit, and now we are deep in the climbing territory. We are talking about Hilly KOM, Titans KOM and Epic KOM on a 28 km long course. And we can finally see some success for the Tron Bike. For this course, it is the second best bike. The other 2 are exactly as expected, Pinarello Dogma and Canyon Aeroed. For the wheels, we've got 2 new contenders, NV78s and Zip 858. The DT Swiss wheels are still on the podium, even for a climbing course like this one. Compared to the best setup, the Tron Bike is about 2 seconds slower. And the final test, pure heavy climbing, the Ventop. The standard bikes are now gone and pure climbing setups are heavily rewarded here. Specialized Ethos, Cannondale Evo and Canyon Ultimate are the winners here. As for the wheels, the winners are the lightweight Melensteins, but obviously you need to be lucky to get those, so the best climbing hoops you can buy with drops are going to be the Roval Alpinists. Also, this is the kind of a route where you really want to ditch the Tron Bike, because compared to the best setup, it is about 50 seconds slower here. So those were the results, but there are actually few more things that are relevant. First of all, this kind of min-maxing and these kind of differences matter only to people who are really racing and caring about the results. If you are racing but not maybe contending for the podiums, chances are this isn't something you need to really care about. Secondly, keep in mind that those statistics are based on a solo riding, which means that if you are going to be riding and racing in a group, there are going to be more factors entering the equation. Also, you need to take into consideration your riding style and your weaknesses. For example, if you are racing on a flat course that has one big climb in the middle and you know you are a poor climber, it might be actually a good idea to take the good climbing setup for the climb, even though you are going to be restricted on the flats, because the climb is the most likely scenario where you are going to be dropped. Finally, it is also about what you like. So if you like the design of the Tron bike and you don't particularly care about min-maxing or having the very best performance that you can have, it is still perfectly fine to be riding it, even if it technically isn't the optimal choice. So what are the best bang for the buck purchases? As for the wheels, it's kind of a no-brainer. You could have seen that the DT Swiss Arc 1100s will cover you in almost all scenarios. As for the frames, it hugely depends on what route are you doing on a regular basis, but if you can only afford one frame, I would say go for the best all-arounder, which in this case means Pinarello Dogma F.